Let us start by slowing this story down and stripping away the drama that certain outlets are desperately trying to manufacture. The claim being pushed is that Prince Harry and Meghan have somehow auctioned access to themselves to the highest bidder. That phrase is deliberately provocative. It is meant to trigger outrage before the audience has time to process what actually happened. When you remove the loaded wording, what remains is something very ordinary in the world of philanthropy. A charity fundraiser involving well-known public figures raising money for mental health causes. The facts are straightforward. Archewell partnered with CharityBuzz, a fundraising platform that has existed for more than 2 decades. CharityBuzz has raised over $650 million for charitable causes worldwide. Through this partnership, a fundraising dinner connected to World Mental Health Day included the presence of Prince Harry and Meghan. That is the entire story. No influence peddling, no secret deal, no ethical breach. Notice how carefully the narrative has been framed. Words like quietly and access are doing the work of implication. Quietly does not mean secretly. In fundraising circles, it simply means an event was not mass-marketed to the general public. High-value fundraising often happens privately because it is targeted at donors who already have a history of giving at that level. CharityBuzz is not some shadowy organization. It is a mainstream philanthropic platform that has worked with George Clooney, Beyoncé, and Paul McCartney. These are household names. When they participate in CharityBuzz events, the media calls it generosity. When Harry and Meghan do the same thing, it suddenly becomes suspicious. That double standard should immediately raise red flags. The reported figure of $100,000 per plate is being used as a shock tactic. That number sounds outrageous to everyday people who are struggling with the cost of living. But in elite philanthropy, that figure is not unusual. High-end charity dinners are designed to raise large sums quickly. One table can fund programs that would otherwise take years to finance through small donations alone. It is also important to remember what the money is for. This dinner was connected to World Mental Health Day. Mental health has been a core focus of Harry and Meghan for years. Long before Archewell existed, Harry was speaking openly about grief, trauma, and therapy. Meghan has spoken candidly about mental health stigma, especially for women and marginalized groups. This is not a random cause. It is central to their work. Critics are trying to blur the lines by invoking royal rules about selling access. That argument collapses immediately under scrutiny. Harry and Meghan are not working members of the royal family. They stepped away from official duties years ago. They do not represent the crown. They do not offer state access, political influence, or royal favours. They are private citizens running a non-profit organisation. Comparisons to past royal scandals are therefore misleading by design. Situations involving selling access to working royals were problematic because they involved proximity to state power. Harry and Meghan do not have that power. Dinner with them does not unlock government influence or royal privilege. It is no different from dining with any other celebrity who supports a cause. Another talking point being pushed is that the dinner was not advertised publicly on the CharityBuzz website. Again, this is completely normal. CharityBuzz frequently works directly with donors it already knows. These donors are sometimes referred to as high rollers. They are people who have previously paid significant sums to attend charity events or exclusive experiences. Private outreach is part of how serious fundraising works. To put this into perspective, CharityBuzz currently offers dinner with actor Bob Odenkirk, for $10,000. It also offers premium tickets to attend the Grammy Awards for $50,000. These offers are treated as fun celebrity experiences. No one questions the ethics. No one writes alarmist headlines. That reaction only appears when the Sussexes are involved. What makes this even more telling is the assumption that people are paying simply to sit near Harry and Meghan. In reality, donors at this level are often motivated by the cause itself. Mental health initiatives require sustained funding. Therapy access, community programs, and crisis support cost real money. This dinner was a tool to fund that work. Now let us talk about Archewell itself. Up to now, the foundation has relied heavily on private donors. Many of them are anonymous. That is not unusual, and it is not suspicious. Many foundations operate this way to protect donor privacy and reduce public pressure. Those funds have gone toward grants supporting mental health, digital safety, disaster relief, and community resilience. The sudden concern about transparency is therefore selective. Archewell files the required financial disclosures. Its grants are documented. There is no evidence of wrongdoing. What exists instead is discomfort with the idea that Harry and Meghan are successfully operating outside the royal system and still commanding attention and resources. Alongside this story came claims of restructuring at Archewell. Once again, this is being framed as something ominous. In reality, restructuring is common in non-profit organisations. As goals evolve and funding strategies change, staffing models shift. This is especially true for relatively young organisations finding their long-term footing. Archewell itself confirmed that changes are happening and described them as exciting developments. That language matters. It suggests forward planning, not crisis. Organisations that never restructure often stagnate. Change is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of adaptation. The timing is also important. This story emerged just hours before the announcement that the foundation would now operate under the name Archewell Philanthropies. Rebranding often accompanies structural changes. It signals clarity of mission and a renewed focus on impact delivery. 2025 appears to be a year of recalibration for Harry and Meghan. After navigating challenges such as the Centre Ball situation, it makes sense that they would reassess how they approach their charitable work. Learning from difficulties is what responsible leadership looks like. It's also worth pointing out that Harry and Meghan have never hosted a large-scale public fundraiser for Archewell before. This dinner represents experimentation. It is them exploring new fundraising models rather than relying solely on private donations. That is not excess, it is sustainability planning. Celebrity fundraising has always involved access and experiences. Private concerts, meet and greets, backstage passes, exclusive dinners. These are tools used to motivate donors. They exist because they work. Singling out Harry and Meghan for using a common method exposes the bias at play. What we are really seeing here is discomfort with the Sussexes' autonomy. When they raise money independently, it challenges the narrative that they need royal structures to remain relevant. The reaction is not about ethics. It is about control and resentment. The irony is impossible to ignore. King Charles himself has a long documented history of elite fundraising involving access, honours and donor networks. This has been accepted as tradition. Yet Harry and Meghan raising funds transparently for mental health causes is treated as scandalous. This is why many supporters correctly identify this as a non-story. There is no victim, No misuse of funds, no breach of law. There is only a familiar pattern of outrage cycles designed to keep negative coverage alive. If this were literally any other celebrity couple, the story would barely exist. It might appear as a short paragraph praising their philanthropic efforts. The backlash exists because Meghan and Harry continue to disrupt expectations and refuse to shrink themselves. Even the suggestion that people will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to dine with them is meant to sound scandalous. In reality, it speaks to their global appeal and the seriousness with which donors view their causes. That is not something to mock. It is something charities actively seek. Mental health remains underfunded globally. Governments fail to meet demand. Non-profits step in to fill the gap. When high-profile figures leverage their visibility to raise money, that should be encouraged rather than attacked. So when you hear claims about auctioning access, remember what is being left out. The cause, the context, the precedent, the double standard. All of it matters. Without those pieces, the story collapses into nothing more than tabloid noise. At the end of the day, this is a charity dinner facilitated by a respected platform, supporting mental health initiatives, involving two private citizens who have consistently used their platform to advocate for positive change. The outrage is manufactured. The facts are clear. And once again, the real story is how determined some people are to turn generosity into controversy when it involves Meghan and Harry.